It's military-grade spyware, powerful enough to bring nations to their knees in minutes. It bypasses entire operating systems, iOS, Android, even Windows, making trillion-dollar companies look helpless. A silent predator that slips into your phone without a single tap, steals everything, then disappears without a trace. Yes, I'm talking about Pegasus. We've all heard the name. But here's the real question. If it was built by humans, what's stopping others from creating something just as dangerous? Who's building these tools now? Where are they being sold? What do they cost? If they can invade our privacy so easily, why aren't they banned? Is democracy in danger? Or worse, are we already living with a spy in our pocket? Let's talk about it.
With the click of a button, you can bring down nations to their knees very rapidly, if you so desire, and if you're willing to take the risks, because every system can be hacked.
Pegasus is one of the most powerful bits of spyware ever made. It's easily installed, almost impossible to detect, and even harder to get rid of. What's more, it gives the attacker root access to the victim's phone, allowing them to take complete control.
At ground level, the first question is simple. Why do we need something like Pegasus? Why do we need a billion-dollar company selling viruses legally across the world? And why does it have so much government backing? On the surface, the answer seems clear. Governments claim they need Pegasus to fight terrorism and corruption. And the NSO Group? They branded themselves perfectly as the digital savior of the free world.
We do what we need to do. We help create a safer world.
They say Pegasus helped capture drug lord El Chapo, even track down Osama bin Laden. And here's the reassuring part. Pegasus is only sold to governments.
Our contractual agreements have our customers sign that the only intended use of the system will be against terror and crime.
They sign. Come on. You have an autocratic government and they say, oh, we're not going to use it except against criminals. And you just believe them?
Here's the twist. The same spyware built to protect democracy was used to undermine it. Pegasus was turned inward, used to target political opponents, activists, and journalists, to silence dissent. To control the narrative. Now imagine what happens when tools like this are sold to authoritarian regimes, where free speech is already on life support. What started as a weapon against terrorism is now being used to terrorize the truth. First, let's examine the countries with a low democracy index, nations where NSO Group sold Pegasus, despite the high potential for misuse. This index is published by the Economist Intelligence Unit, which assigns a score between 1 and 10. The lower the number, the less democratic the country. NSO sold Pegasus to authoritarian regimes such as Saudi Arabia, Azerbaijan, Egypt, Kazakhstan, Togo, Rwanda, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates. Morocco and Mexico also appear on the list. According to the IU, these two are classified as hybrid regimes, meaning they have some form of electoral process, but civil liberties and opposition rights are heavily restricted. Then come India and Hungary. Both are labeled as flawed democracies, primarily due to increasing restrictions on the press and civil freedoms. It's a blatant display of hypocrisy by NSO Group, selling powerful surveillance tools to regimes. With limited democratic accountability, people like you and me, people who were simply doing their job, paid the price. Omar Radi, an investigative reporter from Morocco, was infected multiple times. Szabolcs Pányi from Hungary was targeted for his work exposing corruption and intelligence operations. And in India, Paranjoy Guha Thakurta faced surveillance after writing about corporate power and government interests. But the abuse of Pegasus didn't stop there. It was also used on journalists from The Wire in India, Mediapart in France, and El Faro in El Salvador. The most chilling case.
Neda Berto, who had been selected as a possible target for surveillance by a Mexican NSO Group client in the weeks leading up to his assassination in Guerrero in 2017. He frequently posted Facebook videos denouncing corruption between drug cartels and local government officials. On March 2nd, 2017, he posted this video, was killed 2 hours later.
There seem to be very strong ties between the government and this gang leader.
And then there's Javier Valdez Cardenas, an award-winning journalist, murdered in May 2017. After his death, his colleagues and his widow, Griselda Triana, were targeted with Pegasus spyware. Human rights defenders were not spared. Then there were those closest to Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi dissident journalist murdered by agents of the Saudi government inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. His fiancée, Hatice Zengiz, had her phone infected after his murder. And the political world? It wasn't immune either. An Indian political consultant linked to opposition leaders had their phone compromised. Even world leaders were on the list. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, was selected as a potential target. Colleagues of Financial Times editor Rula Khalaf were verified. And 2 women suing the Moroccan government in France had their phones forensically confirmed. There is now clear evidence of silencing, surveillance, and censorship, a direct attack on free speech, the backbone of any democracy. Let's look at the timeline of how it all unfolded. In 2019, WhatsApp, owned by Meta, filed a lawsuit against NSO Group. 2021, the Pegasus project exploded into public view. The Supreme Court of India appointed a committee to investigate the allegations. Hungary didn't even deny it. A senior official confirmed they had bought and used Pegasus. That same month, Apple sued NSO Group for targeting iPhone users with zero-click exploits. In December 2021, the US Department of Commerce added NSO Group to its entity list. The US Supreme Court rejected NSO's claim of sovereign immunity. Then, in December 2024, a US federal court found NSO Group liable. Finally, in May 2025, NSO Group was ordered to pay $168 million in damages to Meta, the largest penalty ever imposed on a spyware vendor. But the real story isn't just in the courtroom. What actions did governments take? Who were the victims? Were lives lost? And the question that haunts us most, are we living in a safer world now? Let's find out. As of 2025, the United States remains the only Western nation to have taken direct legal and punitive action against NSO Group. While several other governments face strong public criticism, most have merely voiced concern or launched limited investigations. None have pursued legal or regulatory measures matching the scale of the US response. Well, probably the outcome is not surprising, but how much did it cost to buy the freedom of those who dared to do their jobs fearlessly? According to leaked pricing documents, it cost $500,000 just to get started. Then, another $650,000 to infect 10 devices. Each additional phone, around $65,000. And if you want to target 100 more devices, that's another $500,000. Sounds like a software subscription, except what you're subscribing to is the power to watch, listen, and control.
If they're listening right now, what's your message?
Fuck off.
There's no binding international treaty that governs cyber surveillance. The way, for example, nuclear weapons are governed. What's concerning here is the intent. It's all good if the technology had been used to fight terrorism and corruption. But the use will never be contained. Slowly and steadily, we are accepting mass surveillance. First, it detects your right to protest, and then it erodes deeply into democratic values. Eventually, we will all come under an authoritarian regime. The data shows a clear global shift, not toward democracy, but away from it. Pegasus is human-made, which means, in theory and in practice, others have already built similar tools.
This is everywhere. This is an industry that should not exist. We're seeing what the NSO Group, which is sort of the most famous of these guys, is up to. But the NSO Group is only one company of many. And if one company smells this bad, what's happening with all the others?
China's Apt41 group, also known as GRI, have developed a tool called LightSpy. It's modular, like Pegasus, and works on both iOS and Android. It's been used for political espionage across Southeast Asia. Russia's FSB-linked hackers have tools like Monocle. These tools target Android phones. They perform keylogging. They record your screen. They intercept your messages. The United Arab Emirates ran a secret operation called Project Raven. Then there's commercial spyware, Finfisher, built in Germany and the UK. Galileo, developed by a hacking team in Italy. Both are widely sold to governments, and both offer capabilities that resemble Pegasus. And yes, even the United States has its own version of this technology. The NSA and CIA have built some of the most advanced surveillance malware in the world. These tools are believed to be more powerful than Pegasus, but they're used covertly, and they're never sold commercially. If its purpose is not regulated, then it will be used against you. It will be used against democracy.
I do believe it poses a greater threat to democracy. It's exposing that a lot of these technologies that we think are meant to keep us safer on our phones, and even if we're somewhat aware of it, that they're really not keeping us safe.